Muted group theory is the silencing and vocal outcasting of groups that are and remain powerless compared to others. Other groups can consist of race, ethnicity, and gender. This study was first picked up by British anthropologist Edwin Arner in the early 1920s. During the duration of that time, women either had lower class jobs or were stay-at-home moms, better known as housewives. They only did such a limited amount when it came to the financial standards of their household. They more so took care of the children, cleaned, cooked, the expected of a housewife. Decades go by, and his study is picked up by Cherche Cramier. She looks at this theory from a more feministic point of view. She notes even through the political dominance, men literally hold every position in Congress. She notes that the women's opinion and point of views are often or more than likely oppressed. She then states that people who belong to lower powers must change their language when in public, and even then, they're still overheard. Ms. Cramier knows that there are other groups who are being oppressed and experiencing this muted group theory. She takes it from a feministic standpoint due to the fact that men always get the respect, regardless of the matter. There was a point in time where it was legalized first for African American men to vote before Caucasian women. A teaching method I would utilize, especially with high school students and college students. My first method is holding a class discussion, but I would separate the class by gender, boys to my left and girls to my right. Although it would be a generalized discussion, I would more so have my focus on the boys in the classroom. Although the girls would be talking amongst themselves, I wouldn't pay them much attention. That is an example of how society viewed women's opinions. They didn't really matter what they had to say, but they viewed men's point of view because women had a more nurturing feel to their answers. Next, I would conduct a class vote. Depending on the age range, I would either have an elongated recess for high schoolers, snack during classes, and also for high schoolers, sleep breaks. No matter the age range or the amount of boys versus girls in the classroom, I'll have the boys write their votes on the blue piece of paper, and I'll have the girl write their answers on the pink sheet of paper. The color of the sheets of paper are not gender biased, they just help differentiate the answers. I would pour all the girls' answers onto the table and only count the boys' answers. An example, for the reason being to show, again, how only men's opinions matter. Not saying the girls don't have a say, but it's not accounted for. My third teaching method would be holding a conversation with this girl's students. But if they say something that's not necessarily to my liking, I would cut them off and hold a conversation with someone else. As harsh as that may sound, that's generally what men did, if anything, more than what they did, considering the fact that they did not value or really take into consideration what women had to say. It either sounded too nice, too sweet, or too easy. For example, during war, women didn't really voice their opinion considering the fact that they didn't feel it was really necessary or called for. And lastly, I call it, whose answer is it? I would write present the class with various amounts of answers from boys and girls, and they would have to tell me who gave the answer. Granted, although it's down on a sheet of paper, it can be from a man's point of view or from a female's point of view. And that shows the class how exactly can they tell who said what if they can't even see the person. Men can have nurturing sides and nurturing sides. Women can have different mentalities. Understanding muted group theory. Over the years, throughout the decades, women have stepped their game up, and men have allowed us. Between women being able to smoke in public just as men, to women's suffrage being approved, women finally have the right to vote. Moving on up, higher than that, the first women. And then jobs allowing women to take on the role of a man, so to say. Just like if a man can do it, I can do it too. From assisting construction working to office jobs. Even in politics, we have women such as Sandra O'Connor, Condoleezza Rice, and Hillary Clinton, proving that they can work just as hard as the boys can. Muted group theory, although we've talked about it from a feministic point of view, can be viewed, like I said prior, through race and ethnicity. There are still groups through this day dealing with race that don't necessarily have much of a voice